Good morning and welcome to our 190th weekly webcast. Now, if this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. If you've been with us before, welcome back. And so the way this call works is this is an AMA, meaning ask me anything. You can ask me business questions, personal questions, career questions, whatever you want to. And within a couple hours of this call being done, my wonderful staff, what they do is they take all the questions asked and they add it to the description field so you can get immediate clickable access if you're not watching live. We also have a podcast version of this. You can get more details on that by going to harounmba.com. Now, today what I'm going to do is one person on this call that asks a question is going to win my MBA degree program. I'll announce later on who the winner is. Just type questions. And the only thing I'm going to mention is that if you've already purchased the MBA program, this doesn't apply to you. Okay, great. So what I want to start off with today is a couple of interesting developments in the news. So what's happening now is cloud service providers are getting way too much power. And so the European Union and the United Kingdom are looking to potentially break up or limit the power of Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. Now, Amazon, Microsoft, and Google, they control about 65% of all cloud computing globally. And that's a big concern for non-US companies and non-US governments because basically the infrastructure of the future, and the future is now, meaning roads globally, is controlled online by those three companies. And it's getting problematic for regulators globally because a couple of years ago, those three companies controlled about 50% of the cloud computing market globally. Now, given COVID and the rush to move online by many governments and big companies globally for cloud computing purposes, given COVID, what's happened is those three companies now have 65% market share globally of the cloud service provider market. And I think what's going to happen is within a few years or so, those big three companies will be broken up. And it'll be by pressure from international governments as well. So let me kick it off with Google. So Google's got the Google Cloud Engine, or GCE. And a lot of big companies run their entire infrastructure off of Google Cloud, just like with Amazon Web Services and Microsoft Azure. One of the issues with Google also is that Google owns the two biggest search engines in the world. Of course, that's Google and YouTube. And that's just too much power for one company. And I think one of the reasons the United States government has not broken up Google yet is because they've been a great corporate citizen from a geopolitical perspective because they pulled out of China in 2011 in January, given the fact that there's censorship issues there. So I think what's also going to get broken up is Amazon. It's just too powerful. It's a great company. I love it. I use Amazon all the time, but they dominate cloud computing, retail delivery, etc. And then Microsoft, of course, with Azure. I think they'll get broken up. Now, what's happened pre-COVID, a lot of governments globally have tried to use their own cloud computing infrastructures, meaning CSPs or cloud service providers, by using their big telecommunication companies for cloud computing purposes. But since COVID happened and everybody rushed to get online fast, what's happened is these three big American companies have become too powerful. And so again, I think those three companies will be broken up. Now, the reason why big tech has not been broken up in the United States yet, including companies like Facebook, which should be broken up, is because the big tech companies in the United States have massive labor unions. That's number one. Or pardon me, massive unions. God, I'm screwing this up. They have offices in D.C. Where they hire people and lawyers to make sure that governments don't break these companies up. All right, I'm trying to do this live here, guys. Not doing a great job with this. By the way, I'm completely over COVID, pneumonia, and everything. Okay. But I think that the lobbyists, that's the word I was looking for. The older I get, the better I was. I had a senior moment there, folks. So these big three companies have lobbyists, and big tech companies do in DC, which is why it's tough to break up these big tech companies. Also, the Department of Justice in the United States has been trying to break up all tech at the same time, which is problematic. I think they should pick on Facebook first and break up Facebook into multiple companies. And Facebook knows it's coming, which is why they rebranded themselves as Meta as a holding company. And Google also knows it's coming, which is why they rebranded themselves as Alphabet a number of years ago. So the bottom line is, I think within the next few years, a lot of big tech companies will be broken up, and the first ones to get broken up will be the big three cloud service providers, Amazon, Google, as well as Microsoft. Okay, great. So please keep typing your questions. There's tons of questions here. Before I get to your question, I see there's a lot of them. Thank you. I also want to talk about a couple other things. Number one is, before you invest in a company, make sure you understand, or any investment class, what the supply is or will be. And so it's really fun for me to talk about baseball cards, because in my hand here, I'm holding the Honus Wagner T206. Okay, and this is from the early 1900s. And there's only 60 of these that exist in the world today. One recently sold for $7 million. This is a copy. It's a fake, just like me. Yeah. But this here, it's worth $7 million. The reason it's worth so much is because there's a dearth or limit of supply. And so before you invest in any company, I want you to look at the supply of the product they have. Okay, it's really important, especially cryptocurrencies. Don't ever invest in a cryptocurrency if there's unlimited supply that could be produced. Now, one of the reasons I've liked Bitcoin, and I'll continue to like Bitcoin, and I'm starting to nibble now and buy some more, first time in ages, is because Bitcoin will never have more than a supply of 21 million Bitcoins by the year 2140. So always look at supply with every product or investment you're going to look at. Now, when it comes to doing investment research on companies, what you can do is there's a wonderful regulation that was passed by the US government in 2002 called Regulation FD, which means fair disclosure. And what that means is you and I, as retail investors, get access to the same information at the same time that the big hedge funds and mutual funds do. And it's really easy to do investment research. And I teach about this in a lot of detail in my courses and my MBA degree program, which you can check out at harounmba.com. And so a lot of hedge funds and mutual funds have been massively underperforming retail investors and ETFs since 2002 because of that. Now, because of Regulation FD, fair disclosure, you can access all the financial documents and all the press releases and all the analyst events by going to investor relations for any company, or you can go to sec.gov. And before you invest in anything, a private company, a public company, whatever, I want you to please thoroughly read the investment offering memorandum. Now, for an IPO, it's called an S1 document. Okay, and all companies that go public have to file these things. You can go to sec.gov to read more about this. Now, when it comes to private investments, I also want you to ask to get access to the investor offering memorandum. Okay, and if the company doesn't have one, then I don't want you to invest. If they have one, I want you to do a lot of research. Last thing I'll say in this is this, and I say this with love in my heart. But if a friend asks you to invest in their company, of course, you got to ask for the investment offering memorandum. But I want you to say this to yourself quietly. Why am I so lucky to be given this opportunity? And it might be because nobody else will invest. So be really, really careful. Read the investment offering memorandum as always. If you have additional questions about due diligence or investment research, please let me know, and thank you. Okay, great. One more thing I want to show you before I get to your many questions here is I'm adding a sixth component to my MBA degree program. The sixth component is technology. And I was a programmer for many, many years. And in the 90s, I worked at Accenture. I was a developer as well. And over the years, I've kept up with programming languages. I love to do it. So I'm going to show you what I'm adding to my MBA program. So the first thing I'm going to be adding is how to program using Excel. Now, and this will, anybody that's bought my MBA program or is going to buy it will get this for free, and all my other mini programming courses I'm going to be adding. Now, the great thing about learning about programming by using Excel is what you can do is you can record yourself clicking on the screen, making changes to cells, and then stop recording, and then you can look at the code. Okay, and that's called a macro. Now let me show you the outline of this, which again will be added to my MBA degree program. So this is going to teach you everything about Excel. There's a beginner track, intermediate, genius, and all track, similar to my other courses. And what I'm doing also is I'm adding help videos for every single icon, every single function as well within Excel, which again, my MBA students will get, okay? Now, when it comes to the programming side, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna teach you programming in a visual sense. And after we do programming in Excel, we'll move on to Python and other languages. And I'm gonna make it much more visual as well in terms of understanding containers, subs, functions, all that stuff in a really, really fun way. So I'm looking forward to releasing it. It's coming out very soon for my MBA degree program students. To learn more about the MBA, go to harounmba.com and click up here on Buy Courses and MBA. With all my courses, I always have, and my MBA even, a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. So you got nothing to lose. Yeah. All right. Now let me get to your questions. Thank you. All right, first one I've got is from Ray, who posted this a couple hours ago. Ray wrote, "Hi, Chris. Thanks for being here for us again. My pleasure. And thank you all for your support, especially as I've gone through pretty bad illness. Again, I had COVID for a couple of weeks. There's 1 week I had to cancel the webcast. Then I had pneumonia. I want to mention one quick thing about COVID because I care. So this current strand of COVID, there's a lot of issues with it to the extent that, and I've talked to a ton of doctors about this, including doctors here in San Francisco, and my brother and my father who are radiologists, which means they fix radios. Sorry. But what's happening with COVID now is, and if you have any relatives that are older like me, I'm 50 now, but when you get COVID, once you start recovering from it with this strand, if you have a cough, please immediately get a chest x-ray, because it's actually can easily be pneumonia, which can be lethal, especially if you have older relatives. Okay, let me move on now to the first question from Ray. So Ray wrote, "Thanks for being here for us again. Thank you. I'm always going to be here." Okay, my question is, why are shipping companies so cheap right now these days? For example, ticker NMM or ZIM. Yeah. So what's happening is because global commerce and trade is slowing down given higher interest rates globally, fewer things are being shipped to ports. And so we're seeing this in the earnings reports from Target and Walmart. We're seeing an increase now in inventory. And so as inventory increases, companies are going to order less stuff to get shipped directly to you, which is going to adversely impact a lot of shipping container companies. And it got so severe, actually, when it comes to shipping in March and April of 2020, that the price of oil in the futures market actually went to negative $20. How can the price of oil be negative? Well, number one, people panicked. People usually oversell when the market is pulling back materially. And number two, what happens is it costs these big shipping containers $600,000 every day just to keep oil in those tankers and keep them afloat. That's why the price went negative, which of course was a little bit too extreme. As Warren Buffett said, the New York Stock Exchange is the only store in the world where consumers sell stuff when it goes on sale. People freaked out. And so there's less commerce today because of higher inventory. Last thing I'll say on this topic is when I worked in the hedge fund industry years ago, what we used to do is we used to analyze the volume of ships going in and out of Los Angeles, right there in the ocean, in the ports, because that was a great channel check on what consumer demand is like. So it makes sense that they're pulling back in value big time. Okay, next up, Johanan wrote, "Hi, Chris. Question is, are there more ways to make cryptos more safe other than buying hardware?" Yeah, there's simple things like for your cryptocurrencies. What I recommend doing is using cold storage wallets if you can, instead of software-based wallets. Even a paper-based wallet can be more secure than storing your stuff online. And I don't recommend that anybody leave their money in exchanges, okay, like big crypto exchanges online, because a lot of them are going bankrupt right now. And they're getting kind of like a run on the bank when people take their money out of banks and they go belly up because of that. And so what I recommend you do is you keep your cryptocurrencies in very secure wallets, okay, not software wallets, but offline wallets, like the Trezor or the Ledger Nano, for example. Do not leave your cryptocurrencies, please, on any big exchanges, okay, because a lot of them, again, are going belly up. It's deadly. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Assad said, I do bookkeeping and taxes, and I wanted to get a fractional CFO service for budgeting, forecasting, payroll, and tax planning. Is this MBA program going to help me with my goals, or what do you suggest? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll teach you everything about finance, accounting, investing, budgeting, etc., from scratch with a ton of my own tools, okay? However, I always recommend that people get their own accountants to do their taxes. And if you have a company, a small company, if you can, get the same accountant to do your personal taxes and your business taxes. And the reason I say this is doing your own taxes is like doing surgery on yourself. I know it sounds harsh, but what happens is the accounting rules change all the time. And that's why the accounting designation exists. Also, you can get a lot more tax breaks if you hire a good accountant. And this is why a lot of wealthy people will hire tax lawyers at $700 or $800 per hour, which is ludicrous, but it's a great investment for them. Now, how do you find a good accountant? Well, there's no Yelp service online to find an accountant. It's a very fragmented industry. What I recommend that you do is you find somebody successful in the company you work at, or a rich aunt or uncle, or somebody that knows a lot about money and has been successful, and ask them to get introduced to their accountants. And they'll do it for you in a heartbeat because they want to help you. And also because when they recommend more work for their accountants are going to do a better job for them as well. Yeah, don't do your own taxes. But I will teach you bookkeeping and all that stuff from scratch. Yeah, in a fun way with a lot of props. All right. Next up, we've got Akshay, who wrote, "Hi, Chris. Is it possible to interact with you via Zoom in a one-on-one today during this call, or any day is feasible at my end? Can you please let me know which day is feasible at your end? Thank you for addressing it." Yeah. So I get a lot of requests, and I want to help everybody. I've got humbly 1.5 million students all over the world. The best way to access Zoom with me is to join one of my MBA programs. So what I do is with my Silver MBA at 10 a.m., I usually have a weekly Zoom where there's only a handful of people in it for a 1-hour call. With my Gold and Platinum MBA degree programs, what I do is I do several hours of YouTube Q&A like this and Zoom every single week. And if you're in my Platinum program, you get 3 hours of one-on-one time, which is all confidential as well. And really quickly, if you want to learn more about this, just go to my website, harounmba.com, click up here, buy courses, or click this right here to learn more about my MBA program. And if you scroll down, I have an explanation of the difference between silver, gold, and platinum. With silver, you can buy today and start today. With gold and platinum, what I do is I do it quarterly. And so the next gold and platinum program that starts September 30th. Click here to join if you want to. We just did one that started in June, June 1st on Wednesdays. This one will be on Fridays. And if you buy silver or you bought silver, you get a big discount as well to upgrade. Yeah. And if you have additional questions about that, please let me know. And thank you as always. Okay. All right. It's good to be back, man. I feel good. All right. Let me get some water. And a lot of my MBA students and students on this weekly call, even, we all have a competition to try to see if we can finish one of these things every single day. You can get this on Amazon. They're really, really cheap. And right now I'm at the 9 a.m. level. I try to get to, at 7 p.m., finish all of this. Yeah. All right. And by the way, last thing I'll say is if you're interested in if you want to get a one-on-one with me and not be in my program, if you're interested, what you can do is if you want to join the gold or platinum program, okay, if you have questions about it, just go to my website and down here, click here to set up a one-on-one Zoom call with me as well. The next availability I have is, I guess, next Tuesday, a couple slots. Yeah, thanks. All right. All right, moving on to Kevin. Hey, Kevin, how are you? Who graduated from my MBA program. Great to see you. He wrote, good morning from Lakeland, Florida. Please take your tax code in Florida and bring it here to the West Coast, California. Thanks. All right, and that's why Tony Robbins left California to move in Florida. Taxes are much lower. All right, moving on to Sammy. Hey, Sammy. Sammy wrote, hey, Chris, glad to be in attendance. Thank you. Great to see you. I don't get many free Thursdays. Folks, Chris is awesome. Oh, thank you. Chris is awesome and will walk through walls to help. Don't hesitate to follow his proven methodologies. Thank me later. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. God bless you. Thank you. Moving on to Samir, who wrote, hey, Chris, I'm following your 100 steps to do research on Udemy stock. Do you have, and what Samir is referring to is I have a template that's in my MBA degree program. And if you guys want, you can download it just to sample it, but you go to harounmba.com/EMS-4-2. Okay. That's Economics Management Strategy Semester 4 Class 2, all lowercase. Now, in this document, and you won't be able to access everything unless you sign up, but in this document, make sure you click here to download it. Don't click here to open it up directly in your browser. But in this template, what I've done is I provided you with 100 steps on how to analyze a company. Okay, and it's based on my many years of work experience at Goldman Sachs, in the hedge fund industry at Citadel, venture capital, etc. And basically, I've broken it up into 3 different parts. You've got qualitative research, quantitative research, and financial research. And I ask you about 900 questions in this. And based on what you fill in, what happens is you get a 1-page executive summary. Okay, all these fields are updated that you can print out if you want to. Okay, and I teach all this stuff in my MBA program. And you also get a 150-page due diligence report, okay, and a dashboard as well. And the dashboard will show you, and there's no macros in this, the dashboard will show you market share, bill of materials if it's a hardware company, etc. Lots more great stuff. And with every one of these tabs here, these 100 questions I ask you, you can always click here to watch a video of me explaining this as well. So this is tab number 72. There's 100 steps. So it's right here, all done in 4K as well. Okay, let me close that down. Okay, so your question is, you use this with Udemy stock ticker UDMY. Do you have any tips to find more about information about management teams, like strengths and weaknesses? What about if the sector is cyclical or secular growing? Yeah, great questions. Now, when it comes to Udemy is one of the platforms that sells my courses. And so it wouldn't be ethical for me to comment on that stock. I never have. I put it on my restricted list. But in terms of analyzing management teams in general, you want to look at the past work experience the management team has had, etc. And you can always go to sec.gov and type up the ticker for any company and read about the management team. This is for Facebook's, obviously. Okay. Read the SEC documents for all companies before you invest, please. But you can learn a ton about management teams there as well. You can also go to, for most big companies, glassdoor.com to read up on feedback from employees, confidential feedback on the management team. I also teach you in my MBA program how to leverage LinkedIn and do many other things in terms of analyzing a management team. Now, you also asked about strengths and weaknesses in general. All the risks that a company has are disclosed in these things, okay? And I'm not a big fan of lawyers unless you're a civil rights lawyer, then I love you. However, lawyers are great when they work with investment bankers, bankers, on these SEC documents, because lawyers and investment bankers will list all the risks and the strengths and weaknesses in these things as well. Another way to do investment research on a company and find out the weaknesses of the company is you talk to one of their competitors and you ask the competitor, what are the biggest weaknesses of their competition? And boy, they'll tell you a lot about it. Yeah. And you can call up investor relations at any company and they will take your call and help you. It's their job. Do a search on whatever company it is you're doing research on and investor relations and call them. Okay. They will help you. I promise. You asked about cyclical and secular growth as well. So let me explain that. So a company that is in secular growth mode is a company where the market is growing very, very fast, okay? And so I think that a great secular growth sector longer term is gonna be the virtual reality market, okay? So that's a market that's in secular growth. This is Oculus, of course, okay? And that will be a secular growth sector for a long, long time, okay? Now, companies can also be cyclical. Okay, so for example, copper companies. So the price of copper is down 20% since the beginning of this year because it's a cyclical sector. Okay, and so what that means is because the economy is pulling back, right, and copper is very much exposed to the economy because a lot of industrial companies use copper to produce products, electronics, etc. So it's in cyclical decline right now because the market is in decline. We're going to recession, I think, in many countries. Okay. Now, when the economic cycle improves, then what happens is cyclical companies like copper will do exceptionally well. So that's the difference between secular and cyclical. Okay. The last thing I'll say is this. Companies can be in a secular growth sector. You know, like for example, companies that make components for metaverse products or VR products. However, there are some companies that are in secular decline, which means they're getting less important. Okay, so for example, Research in Motion back in 07 and 08, when Apple and Android were first kind of announced for their iOS devices, I should say, and Android devices, what happened was Research in Motion went into a secular decline. And this is crucial. When a technology company starts becoming a little bit less relevant, it's game over. Same thing with Yahoo years ago. It went into secular decline once Google started taking market share. And please don't ever get seduced into buying tech stocks because valuation is cheap if those companies are becoming a little bit less relevant, okay? So when a company goes into secular decline, it's game over because in 99% of all cases, turnarounds do not work in technology. Every decade, there's one example of a company where it does. But in most cases, be careful, yeah. And whenever founders leave a company, completely leave a company, especially in tech, and they're no longer involved in the day-to-day operations, run for the exits, okay? Please, all right. And don't ever invest in a company without doing a lot of research first, please, on the management team. I mean, what's the point of building out your financial model and valuing the company if you don't feel great about the management team? And in my MBA program, I teach you a lot more about how to analyze a management team. The jockey is always more important than the horse. Ideas are commodities, but execution is not. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Akshay wrote, hey, Chris, I like your attitude towards financial enthusiasts or who like to pursue financial knowledge by addressing most of the queries and comments. Thank you, Chris. You're most welcome. Thank you. And this is not a job for me. It's a passion. I thoroughly enjoy doing what I'm doing. And you'll know that you're in the right job or career if when you're sick, you still want to do it because you love doing it, which is what I did when I had COVID. In hindsight's 2020, I should not have come on this call a couple of weeks ago when I had COVID. Yeah, it was wrong. Okay. And I pushed myself too much, which is why I think I got pneumonia after the fact. I'm fine now, though. Thank you. And I am going to get the booster now. I mean, in a couple of months, because I'm immune right now. I got the first Pfizer shot and the second one. But when I got the second Pfizer shot a year and a half ago, what happened was I got really sick for 5 days. And so I told myself, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to get the booster. I'd rather just get sick. And I got sick. and it lasts a long time. So shame on me. Yeah, but I will get the booster. Okay, so Akshay wrote, can you recommend other authors or books or intellectuals like you, I'm not an intellectual, worth reading a book about to strengthen my finance? Yeah, so it's really hard. So what I recommend doing always is whenever you walk into an office of a senior executive or somebody you admire, what I want you to do is look at their bookshelf. Okay, and I did that for years. Of course, now with Kindle, it doesn't work as well as it used to, but it still works. And what I would do is after I would leave that office, on the elevator ride down, I had already ordered the books over Amazon. So I used to work at a big hedge fund called Citadel. And one day I spent like a half hour one-on-one in Ken Griffin's office. He's the billionaire founder of the company. Really smart guy. Wow. And nice guy too. We talked about video game stocks and everything too. He's cool. But what I did was I looked at his bookshelf. And on his bookshelf, he had books, finance books, from a finance professor at NYU named Damadorian. So if you're going to read any theoretical finance books, the only ones I recommend are from Damadorian. Another book you can order to learn about financial shenanigans, or if companies are cooking the books, to look for trends, is you can buy a book called Financial Shenanigans by Howard Shillett. And I was his client for years in the hedge fund industry, and he founded a company called Cifra. Again, Financial Shenanigans by Howard Shillett, and also any book that Damadorian writes about finance. But aside from that, I think the best way to learn finance is really just to read these filings, listen to earnings calls, and you can also go to ft.com. And FT is like the Wall Street Journal, okay? But it's for global finance news, and I like it better than the Wall Street Journal. And I'm going to show you, and this is why I will never get any sponsors for my YouTube channel. I don't care. But you can always go to my homepage here, harounmba.com, and do a search on how to get the Financial Times for free. Okay, the FT for free. Financial Times. Okay, so when you search up here, it actually shows you all my vlogs. There's my son Dylan. I love you, Dilly. All my vlogs over the years. I've done 10,000 questions indexed, and you can also click here to find out about where I cover certain topics in my MBA program. Okay, but right here, if you click here, get the Financial Times for free. I explained how to get the Financial Times for free. Okay, so again, just do a search. You'll find it here. And when you read the Financial Times or anything online, when it comes to stocks or how the world works, whatever, just please don't read any editorials ever. Because what happens is a lot of times mutual fund managers are interviewed, and they'll talk about stocks, and of course they'll talk about stocks they own. And don't ever watch an interview with a management team before you do research on a stock, because CEOs are great salespeople. That's how they became CEO, and they'll bias you. Yeah. Okay, moving on to, hey Grace, how are you? And I don't know if you guys can see it, but Grace has a green trophy icon by her name. And what that means is you can pay 99 cents. This is a good deal. I'll show you here. 99 cents and get 5 of my top selling courses for free. So what you do is you click here, join, okay? And then 99 cents, you get 5 of my courses for free, my best selling courses. For $29.99, you get all my courses, and then my Haroun MBA, $99 for subscription every month. But what happens is, if you've been a member for 1 month, you have the green trophy, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And I just deployed this, and I haven't really marketed it too much. So Grace, great to see you, and thank you for the support. And one thing I have to say is I haven't really focused on trying to hack and figure out how to grow my YouTube channel. I haven't taken any sponsors. So what I just did was, there's this guy named Mr. Beast, and Mr. Beast has 98 million followers. And he and this guy, Daryl Evans, just wrote this book on YouTube. And so I just hired Daryl, just to consult with me for a week to help me out. And one thing I have to say is please click like and subscribe. It'll really help the channel as well. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, great. And thank you so much for that $15 donation. I appreciate it. When I get donations like that to my channel, it goes directly to Project Magoo. where I build schools in Africa. And you can go to projectmagoo.org for more details. And we're almost done our first school in Rwanda. Thank you. So the question here, and thank you so much, is this. And thank you for the donation. Chris, as an expert in both finance and IT, have you ever done a cost analysis for a business on choosing the best cloud service? For example, choosing between AWS, Azure, and Google. I have. I did more of that back in 2013 when I invested in a lot of CSP startups. They're all quite similar. My favorite one, though, has always been AWS because Amazon, what's embedded in the DNA subfabric of that company is they cut prices all the time. They're the EDLP company, everyday low prices. And so Jeff Bezos, when he and Andy Jassy, who's the current CEO, when they launched Amazon Web Services in 2005, their strategy was to cut prices. And they cut prices over 100 times, Plus, because AWS is the biggest, there are more apps, so to speak, that run on that ecosystem, right? So they're all great, but I think Amazon is the best. But if you cut your teeth and you grew up as a Microsoft developer, you might want to stick with Microsoft's Azure product line as well. Because Azure and cloud computing, and Satya Nadella, the CEO's done a great job of this, is tied into almost all of their products now. Yeah. Google, I find, is a little bit too esoteric for me. I'm not a Unix guy. So I think if I could rank them, I would go AWS. Then I would go, people are going to hate me for this. I would go Microsoft Azure. And then I would go GCE, Google Compute. Yeah. But I would stick with AWS. Yeah. All right. Thank you. All right. Next up, I have got here, and AWS will always cut prices. Yeah. Competition is a great thing for consumers too. Thank God that there's not just, thank God Google exists and not just iOS. Otherwise, we'd pay for operating system upgrades. Thank you for the question and the donation. I appreciate it. God bless you. Okay. Okay, so Grace wrote here, my question is, what technology or innovation do you think will shape the growth of the e-commerce industry in the future? Yeah, so I think the biggest, the next platform to invest in, I think platforms are always the best investments. If you own the road, you can charge the cars, for example. The next platform that's going to matter, I think, is going to be Metaverse. Yeah. And if you want, what you can do is, I actually did a class from the Metaverse just for fun. It was a YouTube call. You can go to MBA Metaverse to check it out right here. And so it's something I'm playing around with, and I'll be adding it to my MBA degree program very soon as well. But Metaverse, people call it Web 3.0. Web 1.0 was basically just banner ads or static pages back in the 90s. Web 2.0 was, apps and doing more dynamic stuff with web pages up until recently. Web 3.0 is the metaverse, meaning VR products or AR products, right? And it doesn't only have to be you wearing a VR visor. You can use the arrow keys as well on your keyboard to navigate any sort of metaverse-based website. I do believe that this is the next big secular growth sector within technology. Goldman Sachs recently said that the size of the metaverse, or Web 3.0, same thing. Goldman Sachs said the size of the metaverse opportunity is $8 trillion, which is the combination of the Japanese economy and German economy. $8 trillion. It's massive. A lot of companies are going after this market. Of course, Facebook is trying with Oculus. They even renamed themselves Meta. Microsoft has tried unsuccessfully with HoloLens. They'll keep trying. They'll tie it into Xbox longer term, I think. And of course, Google, what they did was they invested in a company called Magic Leap. And Sony is coming out with finally the next iteration of the PlayStation VR, first time in 5 years. So all these big tech companies are going after it. Nobody knows how it's going to pan out or what it's going to look like, but it's self-fulfilling because there's so much money going into this market. It will become, the next big growth driver for the internet, the next big secular growth driver. Now, the way to invest in the market, it's tough to just buy Meta or Google to invest because that's not really a pure play. The best way to look into it is take these things apart. Okay, this is Oculus and the visor as well, which I have down over here. Take these things apart. This is what hedge funds do. And what you want to do is you want to find out what semiconductor companies or component companies or software companies even help to grow the platform. Yeah, that's what we used to do in the hedge fund sector. Yeah. All right. Okay, next up, I have got here Manas from India, who wrote, "Good morning, my dear mentor, Chris, please. Hope all is well. Something that has been worrying me a lot this week. The EU made coal, yeah, I saw that, and nuclear power as clean energy for their use. Why is that? So what's happening with the European Union now is there's a massive shortage with natural gas. Massive shortage, right? And prices are spiking, obviously because of what Russia is doing with Ukraine. And so as a result, what you have to do is you got to let people, heat their homes. And I think that restrictions on coal companies will be partially lifted for a little while because of that, which is problematic. And it's awful. And 1/3 of all the pollution we have here above the San Francisco Bay Area, pardon me, is from mainland China, because there's a lot of filthy coal plants, 4,000 or 5,000 of them still running there. Yeah. So I think that coal will see massive growth in the near term, but longer term, I think it will be in secular decline because it's terrible for the environment. Yeah. But I do think that nuclear is a good answer as well if done safely. Yeah. And I think that within a couple decades, I think that gas powered cars in a lot of countries will be against the law. Yeah. Not trucks for a while, but cars. I think that's what they'll start with. Yeah. And my kids were asking me, they were like, "Dad, when is this war going to end?" And unfortunately, I don't think it's going to end for decades. This is like the Cold War Part 2, and the Cold War Part 1, lasted from the late 40s, early 50s until the Berlin Wall fell in 1990. So I think it's going to last for decades. And I think Russia's going to go after other countries as well to reassemble the USSR. And what people understand about Putin, and he's brilliant. Of course, I despise him for what he's doing. But what he did was, when he was in university, he did his degree in geology. And his thesis during university was what would happen to the Soviet Union. How much more powerful could they become if they controlled the most important resources in the world? Okay, and so what Putin is doing, obviously, is he's financing this disgusting war with the rise in the price of oil. And there are a lot of countries that are buying more oil now from Russia, including China and others. And so, and also, I don't think he really cares about the ruble, because he's financing all this and will continue to do so with rising commodity prices as he tries to reassemble the USSR. And Ukraine was created kind of as part of the USSR post-1917 as the country that feeds, or the part of USSR that feeds the rest of the country, right? And Ukraine is the largest country in Europe by landmass too. And of course, it's devastating the impact on commodity prices and food prices we're seeing. And I'm worried about starvation in Africa and other countries. And the bulk of wheat that Egypt, where my dad's from originally, that Egypt gets is from Ukraine. Yeah, so it's terrifying. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Priscilla wrote, "Hey Chris, hope you're great. I am great. Thanks. I hope you're doing well. Does your MBA program help us get into investment banking field?" Absolutely, it does. In fact, I have one student that started this past January. He just got a job offer from Goldman Sachs working in investment banking in New York City. And he just started, in the post-MBA start class. And his classmates are from Harvard Business School and other top business schools as well. He networked a lot. He has an undergraduate degree, but it certainly prepared him for it. They just relocated his family from the Bay Area to New York City. He's doing exceptionally well, and I'm very proud of him. Yeah. So I believe that any job you want, you can get by networking aggressively, which I teach you in a lot of detail in my MBA degree program. Yeah. Okay. And you wrote, "Have a good one." Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And we have students also that have gotten jobs at Boston Consulting Group, Google, Salesforce, you name it. They've done really, really well. Yeah. And the cost of my MBA, if you sign up today, just go to harounmba.com. The cost is basically the same cost you'll pay for 1 hour of classes at a traditional overpriced business school. Yeah. All right. We started back in 2019. We've had a lot of success stories from my students who inspire me so much. Okay. Next up, Carrie Ann wrote, hi, Chris. How do I build up my confidence for a higher level job that will require me to make executive decisions and implement effective strategies? Yeah. So what I would say is there's a lot of different investment frameworks and strategy frameworks that you can learn that will help you solve any business problem. And so in my MBA degree program, I teach you tons of different frameworks, from the Porter 5 Forces to many frameworks I've created for you, to a 100-step framework that I showed you guys earlier. This is just one of many frameworks that I provide you with. And this will help you solve any qualitative or quantitative business problem as well. And also, the good thing about having frameworks handy is that when you're interviewing or you're in a presentation and somebody asks you a question, you can always fall back on a crutch, which is using a framework, which I teach in my MBA program. So for example, if somebody were to ask you, should company X buy company B, you can use the SWOT analysis framework and answer it this way. And this will buy you time to think of the answer too. Well, let's apply the SWOT analysis framework to analyze this. So let me kick it off with the strengths. So SWOT, a little side note, SWOT is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, SWOT. Let me kick it off with the strengths. The strengths of this company, potentially buying this company, are blah, 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 blah. Then another crutch is, you can say, moving on to the weaknesses. The weaknesses are blah, 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 in terms of the opportunities, and lastly, the threats. And the bottom line is this. So that's just one of many frameworks that I provide you with. I also provide you with frameworks on helping you decide from an investment banking perspective if one company should build or buy another company. Yeah. And so the bottom line is that when you're making executive decisions, I think that using frameworks will help you tremendously in your career. And for anybody that has taken business courses in the past at universities or online, for every course you've taken, I want you to reflect and think of at least one framework that you've learned that you can apply to real life situations. In my MBA program, I provide you with just a ridiculously high number of frameworks as well. And everything is practical and not theoretical in my program. Yeah. All right, next up, Manos wrote, what happens when a crypto founder leaves the project? The founder of one of the top 10 coin companies left the industry this week. What happens after that? Yeah, where there's smoke, there's fire. Okay, and I know, and I got burned early in my career, and people would say I'm the CEO or founder or CFO is leaving for personal reasons, and 0.01% of the time it might really be a personal reason, right? My heart bleeds for them, but usually when there's smoke, there's fire. Okay, when founders leave a company, run for the exits. You can always go to my vlog on YouTube and do a search on founder. I've done a lot of stories on that. And I actually wrote an article in VentureBeat. When I worked in venture capital, I was a guest writer at a lot of places. You can search on VentureBeat and my name, and you'll see that I have an article that got a lot of publicity, whatever, humbly, called "When a Founder Leaves a Company, Investors Should Run for the Exit." Yeah. You're investing in people always. Yeah. Ideas second. Okay, move on to Samir, who wrote, I just read that mortgage rates went down again and are now at 5.3%. Why is this if the feds have been raising interest rates? Yeah, so the way it works is this. So the market kind of speculates what interest rates are going to be. And so what you can do is you can go to a government website called treasury.gov. Okay, and right here you can see what the market is expecting rates to be. Now, given the fact that copper prices have pulled back a lot and inventory is increasing materially, some people are speculating that the Fed rate hikes are working. It's slowing down the economy, and that we won't see as big of a Fed rate increase at the next policy meeting. So you click here on data, and you click here on yield curve, okay? And this is where you can look at the 30-year, which is what mortgages are based on. So at the beginning of this year, the market was pricing in the 30-year to be at 2%, right, which is really low. And of course, a lot of mortgages are 30-year based. If we go down to today, this is the beginning of the year, okay? If we go to today, we can see here that it's 3.14, which is still pretty high. But I think the articles you're probably referring to are when it pulled back slightly from July 1st to Tuesday, the day after July 4th. here where it pulled back a little bit. So somebody was speculating, probably in an article you read, that it's coming down. It actually has come down quite a bit from 3.3, right? That's actually a pretty big move. And so the bottom line is that people are speculating that these Fed rate hikes are cooling the economy, and because inventory has increased materially, and because consumer confidence is decreasing, and because on earnings calls from Walmart, Target, and others, and Best Buy, they've talked about a slowdown in consumer spending. People are speculating that, hey, maybe the government's not going to raise interest rates as much. And that might be an explanation why the mortgage rates have come down as well. Now, you just saw that the rate is just over 3%. And you might be asking yourself, well, if it's 3%, why am I paying 5.3% for your mortgage? Well, because the lowest risk investment on the planet, the last company to go bankrupt, so to speak, is the U.S. government. Okay. And so U.S. government rates 30 years, just over 3%, whatever. And that doesn't account for inflation. But if you're a company and you want to issue bonds, you have to issue it at a premium to 3%. And if you're an individual like me or you, we're going to pay a higher rate as well for mortgages. Yeah, it's called the yield curve. And you can go to my website, harounmba.com, do a search on yield curve at the top. I taught a lot about that, and I do that in more detail in my MBA program too. Okay, moving on to Steve, who wrote, good morning, Chris. You're from, you said good morning, Chris, from New Jersey. Excellent, nice. What movie is this from? Lovely accent you have. New Jersey? No, Austria. Well then, put another shrimp on the Barbie. It's my favorite movie ever. My maturity is 7.5. But yeah, good to see you. I have a lot of friends in Jersey, yeah. And all the partners I worked at Goldman Sachs, they live in New Jersey as well. Okay, you wrote, thank you for your amazing selfless work. No, thank you for being here. I love it. I enjoy it. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to teach. I'm so happy I'm doing it. Thank you. Okay, moving on to Akshay, who wrote, what are the prerequisites or checklists needed to follow while investing in cryptocurrencies? Yeah. So in my MBA program, and I also have a cryptocurrency course, I give you a 49-step checklist. And the way I made it, and the version of the crypto stuff in my MBA is much more current and more elaborate. But I have a checklist of 49 steps you need to look at before investing in a cryptocurrency. And I created it based on how an SEC-based S1 IPO document works. Okay, and the problem with cryptocurrencies is there's really no methodology for you to look to invest in a company. There's a white paper, but it's not a regulated market. There's no investment offering memorandum. And so what I do in my MBA program, we talk about cryptos, is I teach you how to make something like this the easy way for cryptocurrencies. Yeah, the most important one you have to look at though is supply. Okay, you got to look at the management team and all that stuff too. But you got to look at supply. And I started off today's webcast by talking about the Honus Wagner T206. There's only 60 of these in the world. One sold last year for about $7 million. So always look at, and this is a fake, please, just like me. But you always want to look at the supply of cryptos, okay, and the maximum supply as well. Otherwise, you get diluted to nothing. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Maria, how are you? Good to see you. Maria's in my MBA program. We had a great class yesterday. I was telling you how much I love your name for many reasons. You wrote, hello. The one who is going to win the MBA is a super lucky person. Oh, that's right. Today I'm giving away the MBA to one person asked a question. Yeah. And then you wrote, the MBA is just awesome. I'm a gold student and the program has exceeded my expectations so far. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm so blessed to have you as a student. Thank you. Okay. And then Carrie wrote, I'm from Jamaica. Excellent. Great to see you. And my Jamaican friends hate it when I used to drink Carib beer. I'm a red stripe person now. Yeah. I don't drink anymore, but I don't drink any less. Okay. Great to see you. Moving on to Vishnu, who wrote, hey, Chris, do you think the team behind Terra Luna, now the Terra Classic, took the right steps to solve the depegging issue and bring back Terra Classic to normal? I don't know. Sorry, I'm not up to speed on that. Thanks. But if you take my crypto course or within my MBA program, you can do research on that. Yeah, and what I do is I usually don't tell my students what to buy. It's prophetic or historical, biblical, but give a person a fish they'll eat for a day. teach a person how to fish, they'll eat for a lifetime. And so I try to teach my students how to fish, so to speak, by providing you with lots of different templates. Next. Okay, Manos wrote, how important is a man's character in life, and how much influence do you give it while looking for a successful person from any industry? Yeah. I mean, Warren Buffett once said that, it takes 30 years to, build up a great reputation and 30 seconds to ruin it like that. So, we're all going to work at many different companies. The only thing we take with us from one company to the next is our reputation. Yeah. So always be ethical. And regardless of which woman or man is running a company, you can always do research on them to see if they've had any ethics violations, etc. And I teach you how to do deep research on management teams in my MBA program. Yeah. Vishnu wrote here, how does rising interest rate solve the issue of inflation? Yeah. So what happens is if governments make money more expensive, okay, what happens is interest rates go up, okay, because they take money out of supply. And you can do a search on my website for how, because I've done a lot of this videos on this. And so when they do that, what happens is interest rates go up if there's less money out there. If you take the supply of anything and lower it, like PS5s, the price goes up. PS5 supply is coming up now, inventory issues, which is why the price is coming down. But the price of money is going up. Interest rates are going up. And because interest rates are going up, it leads people to want to save more, because they can keep money in the banks. They can buy treasuries and get 9.62% guaranteed. So you can go to Treasury Direct to learn more about that, or ask me about it. I've talked about this in past webcasts. But if you make it more attractive for people to keep money in the bank or buy treasuries, then what they're going to do is they're going to invest less. Okay, that's just the way it works. Okay, so people will invest less money, and a lot of hedge funds and retail investors they invested using margin. Please don't do that. And so when you invest using margin, you tend to do it when interest rates are low. But as interest rates go up, you invest less using margin. As a result, stocks go down and all asset classes go down in general. Yeah. But if you raise interest rates, basically you lower demand for everything. And if you lower demand for everything, then what happens is the prices of everything goes down. And so what's happening now with interest rates rising is demand for stuff is going down, right? As a result, inventory is starting to increase materially in a lot of companies. That's a good thing, because it shows that these Fed rate hikes are working. Yeah. And if you have follow-up questions about that, please let me know. And you can, if you want, I did a series, a Back to the Future series on my website on interest rates. It's called The Idiot's Guide. I think Idiots? The Idiot's Guide to Interest Rates as Explained by an Idiot. And of course, the idiot is me, right? And so I explain this using a lot of props. Of course, I use Back to the Future as an example because I'm an idiot. But anyway, you can check that out if you want to. I explain it in a lot of detail. There's my Back to the Future stuff there. Okay. Laugh at me, not with me, please. Yeah. Okay. All right. Manos wrote, thank you for everything, my mentor. God bless you and your family forever and ever. See you next week and forever. You put a heart and a lot of my favorite emojis on the planet. Thank you. God bless you, brother. Thank you. Okay. Next up, Akshay wrote, Chris, how can my family survive if there is a financial recession? Yeah, it's hard. I always recommend that people live below their means if you can. And there's a great book you should read, everyone should read, called The Millionaire Next Door. And it kind of explains how you can be a millionaire in the long run with small savings. And you can do a search on my vlog for savings, how to make millions by savings in the long run. I've done a lot of courses on that. And in my MBA program, I teach you a lot about that as well in terms of saving for the future. Yeah. And the best thing you can do is out of sight is out of mind, meaning for every paycheck, if you can, I know times are hard for all of us, but every paycheck, have money deducted and put directly into your retirement savings program. And if you don't know what stocks or stuff to buy, just buy ETFs for the big indexes, because in the long run, you will make money on those. I promise you. Short run, nobody knows. Yeah. And Warren Buffett said you always want to spend what is left after saving instead of saving what is left after spending. Yeah. And there's a reason why so many rich people or wealthy people are really, really cheap, because that's how they became rich. Warren Buffett is cheap. He still lives in the same house he bought in the 1950s in Omaha. The founder of IKEA, which is Canadian for common sense, Swedish for common sense. Sorry, I'm Canadian. He actually he has the same shoes he wears to work he bought decades ago. He drives an old station wagon. His briefcase is always a plastic bag. Yeah, that's how they became rich. Yeah, and by the way, if you guys work for somebody and they give you a bonus and you're not happy with the bonus and you just started, it's not going to get better. I know it's a weird thing to say, and one data point doesn't make a trend. But if you work for somebody that's cheap, they're always going to be cheap. Just use them for the experience and learn how to start a company that will be much better than theirs. Turn your business idols into your rivals. Yeah. All right. Next up, Carrie Ann from Jamaica wrote, "How can I prepare a strategy or template for a modernization specialist industrial psychology position interview in order to stand out?" Yeah, so I'm not sure, Carrie, if you're in my MBA program, but in the first semester, in the personal growth lessons, what I do is I provide you with 12 templates, which are strategies that you can create to give your interviewer so you can add value to their career. Now, everybody is motivated in business by one of three things. Number one, they want to make more money. Number two, they want to get promoted faster. And number three, they want to enjoy what they do. And those 12 aforementioned templates I provide you with in the first semester of my MBA program will help your interviewer with that. And it makes more sense once you watch the program, but you add value. It's a different way to do it. And I don't recommend that anybody, when you see a job opening online, I don't want you to apply. Because the person that gets that job usually knows somebody in the company. And statistically, and this will blow you away, but statistically, you have a 1 in 250 chance of getting a job if you apply for one online. So how do you get that job? Well, you network aggressively with people in companies you want to work at, which I explain in a lot of detail in my MBA program. You add a tremendous amount of value, and they will help you. Give and you'll receive. It's prophetic. It's been true since the beginning of time. Okay, moving on to Andre from my MBA program. Good to see you, man. Is there a website where you can check how many ships are going in and out of different ports worldwide? Thanks. Yeah, I'm sure there are. So a lot of hedge funds, what they do is they pay service providers to provide them with data like this. So I would do a search for hedge fund sources for shipping container count. I promise you, there are multiple companies out there that do that. Yeah. Or what you can do is this. This is maybe a better way to do it. So the media watches shipping container movements really closely. You can set up a Google alert on shipping container, and every time, and in quotes, so that it's shipping and container, not separately. Okay. And every time there's a news release from any major publication on shipping containers, you'll get an email right away. Okay, it's setting up a Google alert. It's free to do. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Kush wrote, "How are you doing today?" I'm great, thank you. I'm great. I am fully recovered. I feel amazing. I pushed myself too hard to teach when I had COVID, which is I think why I got pneumonia afterwards. So shame on me. Yeah. But I love doing what I'm doing. It's fun. And when I had COVID, I finished Red Dead Redemption Part 2 and Part 1. It was so good. Part 1 was better than what Part 2 even. I loved it. Yeah. Okay, moving on to Eric, who wrote, "Hi, Chris. How do politics that change policies figure into your financial decisions? There seems to be a lot of politics these days, global and local. Simple 401k investments seem less clear." Yeah. So a couple things. Number one, always have an accountant to do your taxes because it's their job to keep up on policy and tax-based changes. Number two, and this is just me, and it's crazy, but when you accumulate some wealth, and I have a little bit humbly, get a tax lawyer. Okay, and you can get cheaper ones if you search online. Mine's kind of pricey. Get a tax lawyer to help you with investments before you make those investments. Another thing you can do is this. Before investing in something, call your accountant and ask your accountant, if I invest in this, can I put this in my retirement savings account or not? Okay, and you have to make that call to your accountant first, because in some countries and with some financial products, once you buy it, you can't move it into a retirement savings account. You have to put it in right away when you buy it. Call your accountant for more details. Yeah. And what very wealthy people do is they have private wealth managers manage their money. And it's the cost, and Goldman Sachs, they have a PWM, or private wealth management division. UBS does, all the big firms do. And these private wealth management folks, what they do is they charge you a 1% fee every year on all the money they're managing for you. Okay, I know it seems like a lot, but I think it's a good deal, and here's why. If you don't have time to analyze every single investment before you make it to see if it's tax effective, these people that you work with, these private wealth management folks, will help you do it. I think it's a great deal. Yeah. Now, be careful. I've done it before with high-profile investors you may or may not have heard of. And what happens, though, is they'll sell you their services, and then they'll get a junior person to manage your portfolio, which is not cool. Make sure the person that you're talking to that sells the service to you actually manages your money. I think it's a good deal. Yeah. And I know 1% seems like a lot, but they can also help you with tax planning and everything. So just do a search for private wealth management wherever you live. And if you see a big firm like a Goldman Sachs or a name you recognize, you might want to sit down and meet with them. Yeah. And when you meet with them, you want to ask them this, okay? Because their goal is to make you money and preserve capital. I want you to ask them these questions, okay? I want you to ask them, how did your clients' portfolios perform during 2008? How did they perform during the first 6 months of 2020? Just ask them that, okay? And if they lost money, then that's okay, but you want to make sure they lost a lot less than what the indexes did. And very wealthy people, when they invest in hedge funds, their number one focus is capital preservation, and their number two focus is capital appreciation. Yeah. They're called hedge funds because there's a hedge in your backyard protecting your house. Yeah, protecting capital. Okay. Moving on to Rita, who wrote, hey, Chris, the RBA lifted the official cash rate by 0.5 percentage points, taking it to 1.35%. The bank has increased cash rate by 1.25 percentage points, the most aggressive since 1994. Yeah. So what's happening globally is interest rates are rising to counter inflation. And I think that in this post-COVID world, I think governments did a good job keeping rates low in the past couple of years. And I think that the economy and global economy would have had a soft landing into this year if it weren't for Russia. You know, what Russia did by doing what they did with Ukraine, and, you know, commodity prices are spiking because that kind of destroyed the global economy. Yeah. Okay. And hindsight's 2020, but I'm sure in hindsight, the United States government, I hate to say this, but I'm sure they're not happy they pulled out of Afghanistan, because having troops in Afghanistan for peaceful means, it kind of keeps the Soviet Union in check, and did so for decades. Yeah. All right. Moving on to Kush, who wrote, Chris, recently I gave an interview, and I just want to understand, what point would you consider whether to have made it or not? Okay, so you had an interview. Okay, so the way you know that an interviewer likes you is if it's a 1 hour interview, if in the last 20 minutes or so, they start saying positive things about the company, they're trying to sell you. Okay, that's a positive thing. And once they start doing that, they want to sell you on their company. Once they start doing that, I want you to stop selling yourself. Because if you oversell, you'll lose the deal. And I just published a book and a course, which you can get for free if you subscribe to join my YouTube channel for 99 cents per month. But I just wrote a book where I talk about sales techniques when you're interviewing or trying to sell anything. And one of the biggest problems people have is when they're selling themselves or a product, they oversell. If you sense that the customer is interested while you're selling, stop talking. And I say this with love in my heart, but shut up. I'm talking to me. Once they're interested, stop selling, because if you keep selling, the customer, meaning the interviewer or the person that's going to buy your product or service, will think this. At first, they'll think when you're selling, you're like, oh, I like this guy or girl. This product is great, yada, yada. Awesome, I'm going to buy. And if you keep selling, they'll think this. Wait a second. Why is he or she selling this still? I like it all right. Am I missing something? I'm not buying. Stop selling once you sense they're interested. Yeah. Okay, next up we got Intereg, who wrote, hey Chris, greetings. I'm joining the call after a while. Great to see you again. Shopify stock has fallen 80% in the last year. Can you suggest the reason why? Many tech stocks have gotten absolutely murdered. Any large cap tech stock is down materially. Even Disney is down like 40 or 50%, big media company, this year. And Shopify is more risky than Disney, has a higher beta. So it's down a lot more. Also, what people don't realize about Shopify is that Shopify is the largest tech company in Canada. And so if you're a Canadian portfolio manager and you manage retirement savings programs, you have to have a certain percent of the stocks you have in Canadian stocks. And if you want to invest in Canadian tech stocks, unfortunately, there's not as many as there used to be. It kills me. I'm a Canadian. But you invest, your go-to investment is Shopify. And so if you're de-risking, you're taking money off the table, it's the first one to pull out of your portfolio. Yeah. But do I think Shopify is going to be more relevant or less relevant in 5 years? Meaning, do I think that online shopping and setting up simple storefronts will be more valid or less valid in 5 years? More relevant? More relevant. Roll up your sleeves, start doing work on Shopify now. Yeah. And in my MBA program, I provide you with all the tools to do so. Yeah, you got to be, as Warren Buffett said, you got to be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. Do the research first. Yeah. All right. Moving on to Carrie Ann, who wrote, hi, Chris. Are your courses accredited within the Caribbean, like UE, like University of West Indies? And will I be able to secure a higher position with your MBA program? So my courses and my MBA program, I will never let any government agency tell me what I can and cannot teach. They're part of the problem, not part of the solution. They make you teach theoretical crap. I don't want any government institutions making me have board members tell me what to teach. I will never do accredited. It would be a disservice to all of you, I promise you. And I've gotten my students jobs at great companies, just like people going to accredited universities have gotten, for 1/billionth the cost or whatever it is, a tiny fraction. For my silver program, which is on sale now for $499, you can go to harounmba.com to learn more. Not only do you get a 30-day money-back guarantee, but you also, the cost is the same as 1 hour at a traditional MBA school. In fact, I have a lot of students in my MBA program that already have MBA degrees from top schools like Columbia MBA School, etc. And they tell me, humbly, that they learn more valuable stuff in the first month of my curriculum, which you can take online, start today, than they did in their entire degree. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, cool. Salman wrote here, and by the way, if you're not getting value out of the MBA or any of my courses, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. I wear my heart on my sleeve. My reputation stands. You can even binge watch it and get your money back. I don't care. Yeah. In 29 days. Yeah. And my marketing folks, hopefully they didn't hear that. Yeah. All right. Next up, we got Salman. Thank you. I see you got the green trophy icon. Thank you for supporting our channel and subscribing and joining as well. I appreciate that. And then you wrote, hi, Chris. How are you doing? Always great. Thanks. You wrote, I bought your 5 courses offer and enjoying it a lot. Thank you. That's a 99-cent thing on my, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. It's fun. Okay. All right. Next up, Zach wrote, "Hey Chris, I'm in the United States, and I want to start a nonprofit organization to serve overseas. Should I start it in the U.S. or in the country I want to provide the service?" Yeah. I probably register it in the US as a 501c, unless you get favorable tax benefits for doing it overseas. Now, what I recommend you do is go to LegalZoom.com. And I'm not sponsored by anybody ever. I never will be. Okay. But go to LegalZoom and speak to a lawyer there, and they'll help you out for a tiny, tiny fee. Yeah. Okay. And in terms of Project Magoo, if you guys are curious, where we're building schools in Africa, it's registered actually in Germany, because that's where Vital, one of my Platinum MBA students, graduated years ago. That's where he lives now. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right, next up, you will wrote, hey Chris, glad to see you're still doing your thing. Thank you. Still going like the Energizer Bunny. I don't know if anybody got that. That's kind of an old reference, yeah. Here's a question you wrote. What do you think of I-bonds as inflation-proof security vehicle and their fundamentals and where to get them? Yeah, yeah. So for savings bonds, and are you in the United States? I'm not sure. But the best way for me to answer this is this. You go here to treasurydirect.gov, okay? And the I-bonds here, which I think you're referring to. And this here is you're buying it directly from the United States government, Department of Treasury. That's what it's called, treasurydirect.gov. But you click here on how do I buy Series I bonds. And here it'll tell you exactly how to do it. I bought through this website as well, okay? Now, you can only do a maximum of $10,000 per year, but you're guaranteed to make 9.62%. Okay. So, and this basically is United States Treasury rates plus inflation. And this savings rate, it's a great deal. Okay. And it's one of the reasons why the stock market's not doing well. People are like, hey, man, if I can invest and get 10% risk-free, I'll do it. So the way it works is this. When you buy this bond, you have to hold it for at least a year, okay? And when you hold it for at least a year, what happens is this. And if you sell it before 1 year is done, you pay a penalty. But you're lending money to the U.S. government here. So when you buy this bond, what happens is every 6 months, the interest rate changes, meaning every November 1st and every April 1st. So right now, it's 9.62%. If inflation is a bigger problem by November 1st, this will go up. If it's less of a problem, this will go down. But you will never lose money on this, even in a deflationary environment with this security. Again, the most you can buy is $10,000 per year if you're based in the United States. It's a no-brainer. I put my reputation on the line. This everybody should buy if you can. Yeah. All right. All right. And if I missed any question, just post it. And by the way, you can't put in internet links when you post questions. YouTube strips out for some reason. I don't know why. Okay. Moving on to Victor. Victor wrote, hey, Chris, hope you're doing well. Likewise. What are your thoughts on EV automotive companies other than Tesla? Do you think they can catch up to Tesla in terms of technology and data? I mean, all the big auto companies are basically EV companies now. I mean, a tiny percentage of their revenue comes from EV, but they all know that within a couple decades, gas-based cars are going to be against the law in many countries. Yeah. I stick with Tesla, though. Yeah, I always bet in a great management team. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Rita wrote, Chris, how will affect the market? What's wrong, Warren Buffett? Stock has been hit hard in June, despite what CFO Buffett is called Fort Knox balance sheet of $100 billion. Yeah. So Berkshire Hathaway, it's basically a big mutual fund. And the reason why Berkshire is down and everything is down is because the market is down a lot. A lot of people are buying bonds instead, and interest rates go up, people don't buy stocks as much. And so the way to analyze what's in Warren Buffett's portfolio is we go here to finance.yahoo.com. And we type up Berkshire, okay? There's Berkshire A and B. I can talk about why if you want. And so you go here to, let's see, we go to profile, and we can find out more about the company. Huh. Okay. So I thought I could find the holdings here. What you can do is you can get a 13D filing from SEC.gov. I'm just going to do it the lazy way, which is Berkshire portfolio. And you can go directly to sec.gov to find this. And all this data here is directly from sec.gov anyway. So this is a nice heat map here. Here we go. Okay. So Apple is down. All tech stocks are down. Bank of America, all financial services companies are down, etc. Usually 28% of his portfolio, Warren Buffett's portfolio, is in insurance companies like Geico, which throw off a lot of cash. But these companies here, you can see, like Coca-Cola, people are still going to drink Coke during a recession. These are stable banks. American Express is pretty stable. Apple is one of the lowest risk companies on the planet. He's more of a value investor. And so his stocks will go down less than cryptos will, of course, which he hates. And his stocks will go down less than growth portfolios as well. So everybody is getting hit hard. Nobody is immune to an economic recession. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Legal State of Mind. Wrote, what movie was that quote from? Oh, earlier on. Yeah. That was from Dumb and Dumber. Yeah. Which is a brilliant movie. I love that movie. Yeah. Okay. Another line from that movie is this. Let's see if I got my menu here. What is the soup du jour? That's the soup of the day. That sounds great. I'll have that. Thank you. Okay. And that was the menu from where I proposed to my wife, Maxine's in Paris. Yeah. She said yes. Thank God. And I miss her. I miss my wife and kids. They're actually in Toronto right now. I stayed behind and yeah. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a very, very quick break. Speaking of my kids, this is a very, very short vlog. I'll be right back. Okay? Stay with me, please. Thanks. I'm with Dylan and Matthew, and we're playing golf. And epic parenting fail here. Remember Mario Kart in the middle here. No, in the middle. Oh my God. Sorry. Or I'll make this vlog really quick so I don't die. Slowly. Okay. So I'm gonna go fast. Yogi Berra said that baseball is 90% physical. Oh God. And the other half is mental, or maybe it's 90% mental, the other half is physical. I can't remember. I'm worried about dying, but we're okay now, right? No more touchdown. And so baseball, like any sport, is all about confidence. And the same thing with golf. And I thought of this today because when I was, okay, go ahead. Just not too fast, okay? When I was in my backswing, I told myself I'm not gonna hit a great shot, and I didn't. And confidence is not something you learn. It's a switch that you turn on or off. Okay, I'm gonna hit that switch, don't touch it again. Thanks. Okay. And so if you go on your backswing in golf or in any sport for that matter, or right before a presentation at work, if you tell yourself I'm gonna do exceptionally well, I promise you will. You know, perception becomes reality. You gotta turn that switch on. And so another thing I wanna say is that in any sport, if you follow through, we know that you actually have a higher probability of hitting a good shot or making a goal, etc. And the reason is because you're focused on the end goal. You're focused on the end goal. You know, the closest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Okay, I'm gonna end this vlog right now. I think you get the idea, so I can go spend time with my kids here. If this was helpful, and only if this was helpful, please click the like button. Don't let your kids drive ever at a young age like this. Epic parenting fail. And I will see you manana. Thank you. All right. Thank you for letting me take a break there. All right. Next up, Derek wrote here, hey, Chris, just let you know, I love your complete business plan worksheet. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. And please don't anybody start a company until you write a full business plan, because failing to plan is planning to fail. And so in my MBA program in the third semester, I have what's called a venture capital boot camp. So anyway, it's helpful. It's fun. People love it. Yeah. All right. And what I'm going to do now is what YouTubers do to get a thumbnail is they point, and this will become the thumbnail image. And let me just remember where we are here. So right now it's 9:25 a.m. So I'll point here and I'll smile. But I'll make this a little bit more visible. There we go. All right, there we go. That was my cheesy thumbnail image. Yeah. Yeah. And my son Andrew, very very proud of him. He's 18 now. He'll be attending Berkeley doing engineering in August next month. Yeah. They grow up fast, folks. All right. Next up, Derek wrote, can you imagine what I could get up to with your MBA course? Yeah, I'd love to have you join. Love to have you join. Yeah. Thank you. Just go to harounmba.com and thank you for the support, everybody. Yeah. And please, everybody, click like and subscribe, please. It helps the channel a lot. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Now we've gone to Rita, who wrote, Chris, where is it going, please? According to a report by Bloomberg, the wealthiest people in the world lost around $1.4 trillion combined this year. Yeah. Yeah. So not a big surprise because, the wealthiest people in the world made a fortune in the past couple of years. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just because of their ownership in stocks. Yeah. Everybody's getting hit, even the rich. Even the rich are complaining. Yeah. All right. All right. Next up, we have Wood, who wrote, oh, Wood, first time I've seen you. Thank you for joining. I hope you join again. Who wrote, hello from Thailand, Chris. Hope you're doing well. Likewise. And then Derek wrote, the only thing missing behind my name is MBA. Yeah. Yeah. And I joke that with my wife that because I worked so damn hard past couple of years, that, honey, I said, sweetie, MBA does not stand for married but available. I promise you, I'll do a better job. She's so patient. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to Sarthik, who wrote, hey, Chris, so glad to be here. Likewise. Thank you. How can I follow my goals and get successful with it? To many people, my goals do not seem achievable. Yeah. A couple of things. You shouldn't give a damn what anybody thinks. The second you tell yourself you don't give a damn what people think of you is when you start becoming incredibly happy and euphoric. You live your life on your own terms. Don't give a damn what anybody thinks of you. And the most successful entrepreneurs, they're successful because of that. They don't care. They never did. Steve Jobs, God bless him, but, he used to wear the same clothes every day. He let his hair grow long. He didn't shower. He only ate carrots. Please shower, everybody. But he didn't care what people thought. And when he worked part-time at Atari and Activision, they even made him work the night shift because of that. He smelled, yeah. But he didn't give a damn. I know it's a silly thing to say, but the most successful entrepreneurs are like this. They just don't care. Elon Musk doesn't care what people think when he tweets. He never does. He never cared when, decades ago, people thought he was crazy because he talked about colonizing Mars. Mark Benioff, who founded Salesforce.com, I used to see him in my building all the time years ago. And in the public lobby, he used to walk his beautiful Labrador with wearing his Hawaiian shirt in bare feet. He didn't care. If you don't care what people think of you, you'll be much happier in life and much more successful. Because we are wasting so much time thinking about what other people think of us. I don't care. I don't care that I'm not wearing my suit this week. This is ridiculous. I don't care. My hair is a disaster. Bad hair day, eh? Yeah. You just got to tell yourself, I don't give a damn what people think of me. And your homework is this. Everybody get a pen and a piece of paper, please. Okay. And what I want you to do is on the piece of paper, and this is from my MBA program, just a daily schedule thing. I want you to write down this. I don't care about X. And do that 10 times. I don't care about what people think of my profession. I don't care what people think of who I am. I don't care. People judge me because my nose is huge. It's a great nose because I can kick anybody's ass in skiing because it's very aerodynamic. I don't care. You have to be the same way. You got to tell yourself, I don't give a damn. And there's a book about this called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Beep. And once you don't give a damn what people think, then and only then can you reach true happiness and live your life on your own terms. And if you don't care what people think, you'll come across as more confident, which will help you in all aspects of your life, from dating to getting promoted, etc. I don't care. Try it with me. It works really, really well. Yeah. Okay. Now, in terms of achieving your goals, 95% of people give up on their New Year's resolutions by the third week of January. And the reason they do is because they don't set a deadline date. So whatever goals you have, you got to set a deadline date and vocalize those goals just to your buddies. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book in 6 months. And you can all go to my website, harounmba.com/writebook, all lowercase, write book, and use this template for free. I don't ask for your email or anything, and write a book. How awesome would that be? You walk into an interview and you give them the book you wrote. Anybody can do it. It's free to do. And if you don't want to do it, then you got to ask yourself, how badly do you want that job? Confidence is contagious too. And confidence leads to perceived competence. Yeah. Write down your goals. And by the way, if you guys are curious, in my MBA program, in the first class, I give you this scheduling system so you can accomplish way, way more every day. It works. Or your money back. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, and Kevin wrote, a Bloomberg terminal has all that information. Yeah, don't subscribe to Bloomberg. You can do everything on Bloomberg on Yahoo Finance. I used to pay thousands of dollars every month for each of my employees for Bloomberg. Don't do that. You get everything you need on Yahoo Finance, even options. Okay, if you have a Bloomberg terminal in front of you right now and you type in OMON, which is Options Monitor, you can get all that detail now directly on Yahoo Finance for free. Yeah. Okay. All right, next up, I have got here Derek, who wrote, how can we save the electricity problem in South Africa? We're living with load shedding and it's killing us. Yeah. Well, the problem is natural gas prices are going up globally. It's a regional issue in some places. Like, for example, to fill up my mid-sized car, it's $115 here for me in California. It'll be $70 in Atlanta. It's still ridiculous. And so I think what's going to happen is people are going to resort to coal temporarily. Yeah. The only way to solve this problem longer term is to get off. We're all slaves to oil. And there's a famous Saudi Aramco executive who said that the Stone Age did not end because they ran out of stones. And so I think what Putin is doing is going to shoot him in the foot longer term, because I think we're all going to get off oil entirely within a couple decades. Yeah. All right, moving on to Victor, who wrote, do you think going into debt, like $120,000 you wrote, for a graduate professional program is worth it for a better salary and more life satisfaction, but being set back in terms of time, money, and buying a place? Yeah. Now, I know what you're saying. Should you get a traditional MBA, for example? Yeah. So I would not get a traditional MBA or graduate degree until you've tried to get into what role you want to get into. Let me explain some more detail. Okay. So had I known what I know now about networking, I would not have gone to business school. I went to Columbia in New York 8 million years ago. I graduated in 2000. I applied for a couple jobs, whatever. I couldn't get it. And I thought, hey, man, I got to go to business school to get it. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to set up 100 informational meetings to see if you can get the job of your dreams. And after you do all 100, if you still can't do it, then go get that graduate degree. But I promise you, if you do 100, you follow through, you will be able to change careers. I guarantee you. It's worked for tons of my students in my MBA program. I have one in particular this year, as I mentioned earlier, that just got a job offer, and he's now in New York City in investment banking at Goldman Sachs, post-MBA level. Yeah. Try to network aggressively. Yeah. And it's free to network. And think of it this way, okay? Think about it that each informational meeting you do costs $1,000. Hear me out here. And you do 100 informational meetings. That's $100,000. Okay. And you get the job of your dreams. You're like, great. Only you didn't have to pay $1,000 per meeting. It was free to network. That's the cost of a traditional MBA. Yeah. Try to network like crazy to get the job of your dreams. And if you can't do it after 100 informational meetings, then go and get the graduate degree. Or sign up for my MBA program and try to change careers using my MBA program. And if it doesn't work, then go get a traditional MBA or get your money back. The cost of my MBA program, which you can go to harounmba.com to find out more about, It's $499 on sale. And that's the cost for 1 hour at a traditional business school. And as I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of people in my MBA program that already have MBAs from top schools. Yeah. All right. And then Tripson said, currently I'm taking your online MBA on Udemy. Amazing course. Thank you. And that's the it's a 7.5 hour course I have called an entire MBA in one course. Yeah. And now this new one I have is a couple hundred hours. Thank you. And then Kush wrote, have a great day. And a big dosa. Thank you. Dosa is the best food you'll ever eat. For those of you that go to Indian restaurants all over the world and you get, tikka masala or chicken tandoori and all that great stuff, you don't know what good food is unless you have a dosa. So on the menu at an Indian restaurant, if you see dosa, get it. If not, ask them off menu if they can make it for you. I promise you, it's the best food you'll ever eat in your life. And the best dosa I had was at the airport, actually in Mumbai and Delhi when I was there back in 2016. So good. Yeah. All right. We've gone to Rita, who wrote, Chris, when will we start the one-on-ones for Platinum program? And do the Platinum members have access to your gold and silver classes and Q&A? If so, can I be posted for these? Yeah. So the Platinum, if you join the Platinum program, you get one-on-ones right away. And so the next Platinum class that starts is going to be September 30th. It's going to be a smaller class. It's going to be just on Fridays. And to learn more about it, you can go to harounmba.com. And then just scroll down to learn more about Platinum here, Gold and Platinum. Yeah. And so if you're in Platinum, you get everything you get in Gold and Silver. Yeah. And then you get the one-on-one, 3 hours of one-on-ones with me as well. Confidential one-on-one coaching. I create your entire LinkedIn profile with you during the one-on-ones if you want me to, but only in the Platinum program. Yeah. It's fine. All right. Eileen, thank you so much for the donation. Eileen, you didn't have to do that. So Eileen Deo Gracias graduated from my first MBA program that started in 2019. She's based in Atlanta. She has the most beautiful last name ever. It's Deo Gracias, which is Spanish for thank God. What a beautiful, beautiful last name, Deo Gracias. She's wonderful. I've done calls with her and her son. She came to graduation here last December as well. I got to meet her. I met her when I was in Atlanta last summer. My son was at Georgia Tech for a while. Great to see you, Eileen, as always. And Eileen actually grew up with, so she grew up in the Philippines, and then she moved to Atlanta where she has a booming, massive business doing really well. But she grew up with this guy that is now my priest in my church here. And I'm a reader in my church as well. Yeah, Father Peter. Yeah, small world. Yeah, thank you for that donation as well. I'll go directly to Project Magoo. Thank you. Okay, next up I have got here. Derek wrote, "Did your MBA course on Udemy as well? It's fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you." Yeah, and that one I remember I recorded that in one day. It's a 7.5 or 8 hour course. And the reason I created that course was I was actually teaching a charity called the Limo Foundation, these poor kids from East Palo Alto. And I did it on a Saturday, and I called the entire MBA in one day for them. And then on a Sunday in January 2016, I put up a camera at home in my bedroom. And my wife said, "Honey, this is not happening." I was like, no, I'm recording an MBA course. And I recorded an MBA course. Oh God, these live webcasts. I'm one stupid comment away from destroying my life. But what I did was I hit record and I recorded for 12 hours straight. Then I made it 7.5 hour course, threw it up on Udemy online. Had no idea it was going to do well. It wasn't about the money. It was because I wanted to help people. And humbly the next day, it was written up in Business Insider. And the head of Goldman Sachs alumni called me. And I thought, oh my God, I'm in trouble. And I sat down and I want to put on my Depends because I was scared. I'm just kidding. And they said, we love it. We want to send this out to all of our alumni as well. At Goldman, 40,000, 50,000 alumni, which was cool. And it was life-changing. And that course is sold. I think we sold over 500,000 copies now. It's fun. Thank you. But I have aged a lot since then, let me tell you. Yeah. Okay, next up, Yori wrote, "Hey, Chris and everybody. It's a blessing to be part of the Haroun MBA family. The MBA program is far above my expectations." Thank you, Yori. Appreciate it. And it was great to see you yesterday on Zoom as well. Lots of love. Thank you. Thank you. Arigato. Okay, moving on to Prox, who wrote, hey, Chris, I started the MBA program last week. One of the links led me to your channel, to which I subscribed. I'm already breaking. Keep it short. I'll continue on another message. Okay, yeah. You can't type more than 200 characters. What I usually do, if I have a couple messages to put in a row here, I do 1 of 2 and then 2 of 2. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Okay, and so here's part 2. You wrote, what might be better between gaining business expertise to execute your tech startup idea and becoming, and hold on a second here, I'm trying to read this. And becoming a specialist and building the product yourself. Yeah, so you're talking about, okay, building versus working at a big tech company. Yeah, so what we do is in the 3rd semester, we have a venture capital boot camp, and it's based on my experience working in VC and boot camps for years. And so I teach you how to write a business plan from scratch. And so that will help you tremendously as well. And if you have questions about it, you can ask here, of course, as well as during the Zoom sessions we have for all students. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And if you have more questions about that, let me know, please. I'm here to humbly help you, and thanks for the support. Moving on to Sunder, who wrote, I'm working in a lending business. Do you have any courses on fintech with BFSI? Yeah. So what I'm doing now is I'm adding to the MBA program a technology module. Okay, it's going to be the biggest part of the MBA longer term. And anybody that signed up for the MBA is going to get it for free. And what I'm starting with actually is teaching how to program using Excel, okay, and macros. And then I'll be moving on to other stuff like Python, et cetera, and any software product that's going to help you take your career to the next level. I love software. I love technology. And of course, this is all applicable for fintech as well. And it's very visual what I'm teaching with programming. It's going to be a lot of fun as well. Yeah, I'm excited for it. Yeah. All right, let me get back to full character here. Okay, now I got to wrap this up soon. I apologize. Okay. All right. And somebody wrote, what course is next? And you read all my books. Thank you. Yeah. So I've got, so it'll be this Excel programming thing I'm adding to the MBA curriculum as well. And if anybody's already bought the MBA, what I'll do is I'll tell you, and you'll get an email telling you exactly where to see it in the curriculum. Yeah. Thanks. So I'm going deep into technology now and metaverse as well with the MBA program. And I was interviewed by Business Insider recently on what I'm doing. You can go to mbametaverse.com. That's one of my links there, just to get a kind of high-level idea of where I'm going with the MBA program. So the MBA program has 100 classes, not including electives, of which there's tons. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding a case study to all 100 classes that is entirely based in the metaverse. Okay, optional. Yeah. Okay. All right, and Eileen wrote, hello, Chris, just joining in to watch the webcast. It's so good to see you as well. And your husband, Norberg, has a great sense of humor. That video you sent me of the firecrackers was awesome. I love it. It's great to see you. And then Green Files wrote, is crypto dead in 2022? No. I think that most cryptocurrencies, and I've said this since day one, are an absolute scam. But there are a handful that are great investments. And I still believe that the Google of cryptos has not been invented yet. I thought it was Ethereum, but Ethereum, there's no limit in terms of the number of coins that can be minted. But I do love Ethereum for other reasons too, because it's the quintessential platform for ICOs as well as for NFTs. But a lot of people are selling cryptos because they're down a lot. Now is the time to start rolling up your sleeves and doing work to buy cryptos. I'll let you decide which ones. I publicly disclosed years ago which cryptos I own and will never sell. They include Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, as well as Ripple. Yeah, and the founder of Ripple lives not too far away from here. But now is when you start doing the work. Yeah, you got to be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy. Moving on to Gammon, who wrote, between Udemy and your website, is there a difference between your courses? Yeah. So my MBA program and my certificate programs is not available on Udemy. And the way to find out, and also my prices here are always the lowest. I'll show you. So if you go here to buy courses in MBA on my website, which is harounmba.com, it takes you directly to right here. Okay, so here's all my MBA programs, which are not on Udemy. Okay, and these are the sold out ones from June. This one here you can buy and start today. Okay, it's silver, $499. It's on demand. You start right now. And then if you want, I'm launching the next gold and platinum one on September 30th. It's gonna be every Friday for a year from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at my time. It's gonna be a smaller class. There's gonna be limits for platinum for sure. But if you buy silver, you automatically get a discount for upgrading and front line access to for platinum. Also, I've got a 9-course bundle here. Okay, for $49, you can get 9 of my courses, which are right here: crypto, personal finance, how to get a job, financial analysts, how to give a presentation, motivate employees, introduction to finance, etc. So it's a great deal. I've also got here something new that I released earlier this year called a Certificate in Finance and Accounting. I've got here a $99 per month subscription, which is doing quite well, actually. You get everything of mine, okay? And every other single course is $9.99, okay, which is the lowest price you'll find anywhere. And then I've got other things here as well. Certificate in Sales and Marketing, only available here. Certificate in EMS, Economics Management and Strategy as well, $99. Let's see what else I have here. Personal Growth Masterclass. All this stuff you get included with if you get the MBA though. Yeah. Yeah, and I got some free courses here as well. I've got a subscription product here as well, which is just my courses, not the MBA. But if you want the MBA and all the courses, you can pay $99 per month here. Yeah. And aside from that, a couple of free courses. I've got my international versions of my 7.5-hour entire MBA course. And the Indian version I made free because of COVID earlier this year. I'll leave it free for a while longer. And then a couple other free courses here, and then my entire MBA one course here, and just other sold out stuff here. And if you have questions about any of that stuff, let me know, please. And if you're interested in learning more about the next gold and platinum program, just go to harounmba.com. You'll find a link there. Scroll down, and you can actually click here to set up a one-on-one Zoom call with me if you're interested in buying gold and platinum. Yeah, and again, if you bought if you bought silver, you get a big discount as well. All right. And Eileen wrote here, Chris, I know we discussed this in class. In analyzing if a small business is profitable, what should the percentage be of COGS and overhead expenses with gross revenue? Yeah. So COGS means cost of goods sold. It all depends on the sector. Okay. So if you're selling a very high margin product that costs you next to nothing to make, like software or cloud software, then your COGS can literally just be a couple percent of revenue, okay? But if you're selling a physical product, then your COGS are going to be higher, okay? So for example, if you meet me in person, I'm a tiny human being, okay? Now this is from my coding stuff for my MBA students, object-oriented stuff. But if you're selling a physical product like a pencil, say I sell it for $1, but it cost me 75 cents to make or buy, then my cost of goods sold is going to be 75%, a lot higher than enterprise software. So it all depends on the sector. Now for you, because you're in the services business, you're going to have to look at the cost of labor that you have. If you bill out bill out your consultants like consulting firms do. In terms of other expense line items, there's 3 main items you look at. There's sales and marketing, there's research and development, and for every other item, and you're not sure where to put it, you put it in the G&A bucket, okay, general and administrative. And in terms of what percent of revenue these 3 line items should be, it all depends on the sector you're in. What you can do is you can go to sec.gov and look at the annual report for any company that's similar to yours. If it's a consulting company, you can look at ticker ACN and figure out what percent of revenue, for example, cost of goods sold is, as well as S&M, sales marketing, G&A, as well as R&D. Yeah. But always focus on revenue when you're building out your financial model, and almost everything else becomes a percent of revenue, which is why I think financial modeling is really easy, as we discussed in the MBA program. Yeah, yeah. And if you have more questions about that, Eileen, because you're grandfathered in, and anybody that, anybody that's taken my gold and platinum program in the past, you could attend all gold and platinum webcasts, and we can do Zoom if you want today, every Thursday, from 11:20 until 1:20. It's great to see you. Yeah. I hope your son's doing well. He's a good kid. We had a good call a while back. And then you wrote, I don't know if I'm making sense. I know prof is what's left over, but not sure how to assess if the business is efficient. Yeah. The way to know if you're efficient is compared to other similar companies to look at what percent of revenue cost of goods sold is, as well as S&M, G&A, and R&D. And if you want, you can share your financials with me during our weekly gold and platinum call coming up today at 11:20. Thanks. Or set up a one-on-one with me. You know where to go for that. Yeah. Okay. And then Victor said, thank you, Chris, for your answers to my question. You're most welcome. Yeah. Cool. All right. All right. And time for a couple more questions, and we got to wrap up. Next up, we have Janice who wrote, hey, Chris, do you have some advice for getting a job during a recession or the current layoffs? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's something I talk a lot about in the first semester of my MBA program in the personal growth track. Yeah. But I really think you have to network aggressively. And I don't want to talk too much more about networking because I got a complaint from one YouTuber comment saying, Chris, you talk too much about networking. But if you want, you can learn more about this in my MBA program. I'm happy to help you a lot too. I'll walk through walls for you or your money back. Okay, next up, Rita wrote, Chris, I'm in your platinum right now. I started June 22nd. Oh, you are, Rita. You could start doing one-on-ones right now. So all you have to do, I'll show you, okay, is you go here. I'll show you how to set up the one-on-ones. Yeah. Go here, and then you're going to go to MBA student login, and you're going to select the Wednesday sessions. That's the June 1st one, right? And then you're going to click here and type in the password. And if you can't remember the password, email support@harounventures.com, and you could set up the one-on-ones right here. Yeah. And you get 9 one-on-ones with your plan. Yeah. Okay. Jasper, how are you? Jasper graduated last year. Great to see you. Great to see you. You wrote here, great to see you. You're doing better, Chris. Stay healthy, Prof. Thank you. Thank you. It's great to see you, brother. Great to see you. Yeah. Okay. And LJ Co wrote, I bought your course on Udemy, the business plan 1. I'll start tomorrow. Can't wait. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Okay. All right. All right. Super God wrote, how are you? I'm always great. Good to see you. Eric wrote, how do you find a grant writer? Yeah. So what you can do is you can always go to upwork.com and do a search there. You might be able to find somebody. Or what you can do is you can go to indeed.com, INDEED, and you can do a posting there to hire somebody temporarily to do a grant for you. Yeah. Yeah. Or you can go to Fiverr, which is a little bit less sophisticated than Upwork and Indeed. Yeah. Okay. Okay, great. Now, guys, I'm going to have to actually wrap up today's call now. So and I see there's more questions. If you're in my gold and platinum program, what you can do is join us for Zoom at 11:20 until 1:20 today. And if you're in my silver program, every week I do a call, except this week here. I do a call between 10 and 11, which is Zoom. With my silver students. And the way to find out how to access that weekly call is go to the first lesson in silver. So anyway, thank you, everybody. Please like and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. Please click the like button and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. And God bless y'all. And I'll see you all next week. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Take care, guys. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for the well wishes. I'm feeling amazing. Thank you. Oh, I have to give away the MBA. That's right. All right, hold on 1 second. Okay, so one person is going to get the silver MBA. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to scroll through all the chats, and whatever name it lands on wins the silver MBA this week. And whoever wins it, send an email to support@harounventures.com, and I'll give you a coupon for the $490 silver MBA for free. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to go here, and whoever I highlighted, who is it? Oh, no, it's got to be somebody that hasn't purchased. Okay, hold on. Eric, you win it, buddy. So Eric Hademan, you won my MBA for free. So Eric, please send an email to support@harounventures.com, and then I will personally send you the MBA program for free tonight when I go through all those emails. All right, guys, thank you very much. I'll see y'all next week, unless you're in my Gold and Platinum program. I'll see you at 11:20 or 5 one-on-ones with you. And as always, I end with this video that I licensed from the Silicon Valley Historical Association. It's a wonderful, life-changing short interview with Steve Jobs. Thank you. God bless.
When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much, try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. But life, that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. And the minute that you understand that you can poke life and actually something will, if you push in, something will pop out the other side, that you can change it, you can mold it, that's maybe the most important thing, is to shake off this erroneous notion that life is there and you're just going to live in it, versus embrace it, change it, improve it, make your mark upon it. I think that's very important. And however you learn that, once you learn it, you'll want to change life and make it better, because it's kind of messed up in a lot of ways. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.